What's up, guys? We made it through week two pretty easily. We had the Ravens over the Browns. The Ravens got off to a little bit of a slow start, but then they ended up taking care of business pretty easily. I did warn you guys about the Cowboys. That had to be an ultimate sweat if you took that. You probably thought you were dead at least 4 or 5 times in that game. That was a crazy game. And even the Cardinals, I told you I didn't trust the Cardinals. They almost blew the game. They were up, I think, 27-9 at one point, and they almost blew the game. But once again, really no big eliminations in week two. So we'll go ahead, keep moving on. We'll look at week three right here. So the first thing we're gonna do is let's just mark off the two that we've chosen so far. So we did Baltimore and Denver. We did Denver in week one, Baltimore in week two. Not that we would pick them in these games anyway. It looks like they're both going to be tough games to pick against. So let's go to the top, and the first one we're going to see is Buffalo and Miami. And this one, I think, is pretty much a shoe-in for Buffalo. I mean, Miami looks really, really bad, and I think McDaniel is probably going to be the first coach to get fired, honestly. A 12-point spread is massive. I'm not really crazy about taking Thursday night games. Not that that really matters, but also the future value. I know in the last video I talked about I don't care about future value that much. And normally I'd probably take a pick like this, but Buffalo's got a few good games to pick. And also there's another game that I like, and that is this one right here, Seattle and New Orleans. I think that's going to be a good one too to pick. New Orleans just looks really, really bad, and Seattle took care of the Steelers last week, and now they're coming back home. I like that heading up to the Pacific Northwest. That's a pretty good game, I think, that we could think about choosing. And then for the next one, we got Green Bay. They're sitting around 16%. They're playing Cleveland. Cleveland, they gave the Bengals a run for their money the first week, and then Baltimore kind of just ran them over in the second week, which you would kind of figure. I mean, I think this could be a safe pick too as well. I'm going to avoid this one for now. I could think Green Bay's due for a bad game probably, but Green Bay's looked good. They've looked like the best team in the NFL so far. So if you're comfortable going with that, you can. And then the next one, we got the Jets and the Tampa Bay Bucks. This one I'm kind of a little worried about, and you'd be like, well, Justin Fields isn't starting. Well, Tyrod Taylor is a good quarterback. He's a good backup, and I've seen him make some really good throws. So Tampa Bay, nice warm weather down there. Something gives me a little scary vibes about the Jets in that game. So I'm going to avoid that one. And then Kansas City and the Giants, I'm going to avoid that one too because the Giants played pretty well last week. The defense had a terrible, terrible outing against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys defense had a bad outing against the Giants too. So that game was just an absolute shootout. But Kansas City hasn't looked too great. I know they played the Eagles, but something worries me. Their offense just looks really off right now, so I'm going to avoid that one as well. And then for some of these other ones, I mean, you can consider them. Atlanta versus Carolina, I don't mind picking that one if you want to go and do that one. That one I think would be a nice pick. I mean, Carolina showed last week they could come back against Arizona, but I think Atlanta should handle business there, so I'm not against picking that one. And then when you keep going down, you could play Indy, but still don't trust Daniel Jones even after his first two good games. So I'm kind of going to avoid this area and then come back to the top. I think if you once again, if you really like Buffalo, you can go with them. But for me, what I'm going to pick is Seattle against New Orleans. And, I just think New Orleans dealing with a few injuries. They're bad as it is, but they've got a few injuries going on right now. The Seattle defense is really good, and Seattle has a good track record at home. Also, New Orleans has a bad road record usually. So Saints going to Seattle, I think that's a pretty safe pick. Once again, if you want to go on Buffalo against Miami, that should be fine. But you never know. It's a division game. McDaniel seats hot. Maybe they pull something out. Whatever it is, I hope you guys do well. But I want to see some big knockoffs here coming sooner rather than later because we really haven't gotten that many. So you want to knock off some other people out of the pool. But with that, guys, we're going to lock it in. We're going to do Seattle. And like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you guys are picking. And hopefully, we will see you next week for week 4. See you guys.